I'd like to call the December 16th Board of Education Workshop regular meeting open. If we could have a moment of silence. Flag salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, a public notice of this meeting has been sent to board members, all district schools, the Herald News, the Suburban Trends, the Record, the Messenger, West Milford Town Hall, County Superintendent's Office, the Board Attorney, Cablevision of Warwick, and West Milford TV 77, and posted in the Administration Building. Copies of the board meeting calendar resolution were provided to all local media, Town Hall, Township Library, and all district schools. Roll call, please, Mrs. Patagno.
Thank you. Mr. Sitovich? Mrs. Dwyer? Mr. Garino?
Here.
Ms. Jurgensen?
Here.
Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Mrs. Marquardt?
Here.
Mrs. Ricano?
Here.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Here.
And Mrs. Lockwood.
Here. Okay, Dr. Kitchen.
All right, we're going to start this time by throwing it to our student representative, Marina Petrosillo.
Good evening. We want to offer our congratulations to all of the fall sports teams and groups that had a banger season wrap up in the last month or so, including our football team, the boys soccer team, and the field hockey team, along with our nationally recognized band. It has been an outstanding time to be a Highlander, and we are so proud of all of our teams and groups, their members, and the staff on their amazing seasons. Speaking of the band held its annual holiday concert on Thursday, December 11th, letting the sounds of the season put everyone in the holiday mood, which will be continued tomorrow with the holiday choral concert at 7 p.m. at the high school auditorium. Both of these concerts will also appear on the West Milford TV Science YouTube channel in the event that you miss them. The annual fall play was also a great success. Noises Off really gave audiences a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to be the star of the show. Great job to the cast and crew. This year's musical is Les Mis. I've already began listening to the soundtrack. The Poetry Club is seeking competitors for the annual Poetry Out Loud recitation contest. See Ms. Petrosillo or Ms. D'Amico for more details. The Guidance Department held its annual on-site decision day Thursday, December 11th. Representatives from over 27 colleges, universities, and trade schools met with the seniors who were interested in applying to their schools. And we are pleased to announce 87 students were present and participated, and those 87 students earned 262 acceptances. There are another approximately 30 decisions that are pending, and 61 scholarship offers were made, totaling more than $200,000. A big thank you and congratulations to Ms. Chancato, Mr. Ryerson, Ms. Rebrandt, and Ms. Funning for all of their hard work in organizing this event. Several school organizations are participating in the annual toy drive in honor of Alex Shamblin, a West Milford student who passed away. New unwrapped toys are being collected through December 18th and will be donated to the children's ward of the hospital. The Women's Empowerment and Equality Club is hosting a birthday cake basket drive and is collecting items to put together all you would need to celebrate a birthday: plates, napkins, candles, cake mix, icing, and cans of Sprite. Please have your child bring items to their homeroom. The one with the most items will win a donut breakfast. Student Council is hosting its annual holiday door decorating contest to be judged on Monday, December 22nd. The top overall winners will receive gift certificates to the Cove, generously donated by Miss Kathy Menendez. Other categories include Most Creative, Best Themed, and Most Humorous. Starting tomorrow is also Holiday Spirit Week. It begins with red and white stripes for Candy Cane Day. The Yearbook and Student Council recently held holiday movie night where Highlanders bonded while watching Elf and enjoying the hot cocoa bar. Yearbooks are still on sale for anyone wishing to purchase one. Yearbooks are $90 and can be purchased at yearbookforever.com. The price of yearbooks will increase in January, so now would be the time to purchase. Are you ready for an evening of mind-bending mystery with the Master Mentalist Show, where impossible predictions and stunning psychological illusions and jaw-dropping feats of intuition come to life? The PTSO is holding a fundraiser and will be welcoming mentalist magician and West Milford alum David Carasso on January 30th. Mr. Carasso is thrilled to be returning to his hometown and is partnering with the PTSO to offer this show at an extremely discounted rate as a gift to the community. So please, let's show our support and thank him by attending. It's an amazing opportunity. Tickets are only $8 for K through 12 and are available online, and tickets for adults are $10. A 4-pack of tickets can also be purchased for $35. Tickets will be available at the door, but the cost will be higher, so get your tickets early for what will be a fun night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. Great job. Up for the next 2 items, I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Schwartz.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to share with you that the West Milford Special Olympics was proud to host our Passaic County Basketball Skills Tournament on Friday, December 5th at West Milford High School. Athletes from all over Passaic County were able to showcase and compete in an array of skills from shooting, passing, and dribbling. Allie Rocky, a West Milford High School senior, and Coach Abby Weiss, an alumni, coordinated the volunteer registration and assignments. The volunteers for the evening were students from West Milford High School, and the cheer team served as our athlete escorts. Wyatt Becker, a Special Olympics athlete, and AJ Lockwood, a unified partner, sang a duet of the national anthem that was absolutely beautiful. And Kelly Buttery, a West Milford High School athlete, led the athlete oath. Cheer coach and high school nurse Pam Tabarone, and I got to help her with the divisioning of athletes, while our OT intern, Ms. Coyle, took a leadership role at the scoring table. There were over 20 volunteer coaches, some of them who are employees in our district. Physical therapist Cynthia Renage, Kathy Sikelski, a special class aide, Nicole Ungaro, a climb preschool teacher, Christine Cardoso, an aide, and many other district employees and alumni. Our team coach is Christy Clave, and you can see how she certainly inspires our athletes as they competed and welcomed other athletes from around the county. There were over 40 young athletes and traditional athletes who took home certificates and medals. It is really amazing and an honor to be able to host this event for all of the county, but to see our Highlanders compete as well as be gracious hosts was truly amazing. We also are asking everyone to save the date for the Wellness Family Festival on April 18th at West Milford High School from 12 to 4 p.m. This will be a free community event that connects residents with a comprehensive range of support services. The event is paired with the Children's Corner to make it as inviting and as accessible as possible for the entire family. Last year, the event included over 80 organizations and served several hundred guests. Providers include local, county, and state agencies that offer free services that are Medicare and Medicaid friendly. Some of the providers include mental health and substance use services, pediatric and senior support, special needs resources, maternal health services, wellness and drug-free pain management, and more, including a district table where we'll have information about all of our school programs. They also asked me to mention there are complimentary snacks, so that everyone should definitely stop by for a free health screening and a quick snack and see what everybody has to offer.
Thank you, Dr. Schwartz. And then the last thing we have on my report, or our report for this month, is an update on our Governor's Educator of the Year process and Ed Service Professional of the Year process. So just to kind of recap what the timeline looks like, the state opens up nominations for that in the early part of the fall. Those nominations are due and must be reported to the state by the beginning of December. All of our schools received nominations. If you remember, this is something that the district for several years was not participating in. We brought it back last year and had the opportunity to host the County Governor Educator of the Year award ceremony. That went so well last year that, as we've discussed, we've been voluntold that we will be hosting it again. So, but in all seriousness, we are looking forward to that event. It really was a great event. And while we will do a more formal recognition of our recipients in West Milford, I would like to announce the names this evening because they were just announced to the state, so they are, and they were announced to them individually at their schools. We try to get out there and make sure we had a presence at each of the announcements, and I'll share them with you now, and then in January we're going to be inviting these individuals to come be recognized by the board collectively. But we'll start with West Milford High School. The Educator of the Year is Ms. Kelly Downs. We do not have an Ed Service Professional of the Year for the high school. We do not have nominations there. Macoupin, the Educator of the Year is Diane Bavona, and Ed Service Professional of the Year is Peggy Paulson. Apshua, the Educator of the Year is Chris Rodek, and the Educator of the Year is Chris Rodek. Ed Service Professional is Wendy Becker. Maple Road, the Educator of the Year is Nicole Lungaro. Ed Service Professional is Mary Elise Norell. Marshall Hill, Educator of the Year, Melissa Berg. Ed Service Professional of the Year, Janet Scales. Paradise Knoll, Educator of the Year, Kelly Frasca. Ed Service Professional, Dory Torp. And Upper Greenwood Lake, Educator of the Year, Jennifer Magnata. And Ed Service Professional, Kathy Sikelski. So congratulations to all of those winners, really well deserved. It really means a lot when you get not only the recognition of your colleagues or parents or whoever is nominating you, but then also obviously make it through the selection process where your nomination is scored. And so it's a big deal. It's certainly a big deal. We will also be inviting all of these individuals over, just as we did last year, for a breakfast over at Central Office immediately following the break. So we're inviting them over for that on the 7th. We will be recognizing them at the beginning of the January 27th regular session. They will all be invited to that county award ceremony that will be hosted here in the late spring. And I guess that's everything I have on that topic, but really looking forward to recognizing each of these individuals, and again, congratulations to all of them. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention, we started last year as well. If you remember, any one of the people on this list are eligible to apply for County Teacher of the Year. It's a really, really rigorous process. I've been on the selection committee, not for Passaic, but I spent a couple years on the selection committee for Sussex County. And the nominations that go in, the applications that go in, they've got a very, very long narrative for each of the questions that they answer, and it takes several hours to do it properly. And last year, for the first time, we offered time back to any of our recipients who choose to apply. So anybody who chooses to apply to be a County Teacher of the Year, we're giving them a comp day, so they have the time to put in for that. So if they choose not to put in for it, they don't need the comp day, but if they choose even just to apply, we're going to give them the time to do that, because obviously we think our teachers are great, and we want to give them every opportunity to be recognized more publicly than just at this table or in this community. So again, congratulations to all of them, and that's all for our report.
Thank you, Dr. Kitchen and Dr. Swartz. Special reports and correspondence, Mrs. Patagno.
Let's see here. We have the November 18th workshop regular meeting and the November 18th executive session.
I move the November 18th workshop regular meeting and executive session meeting minutes.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll be abstaining from both.
Thank you.
Okay. President's report. So real quick for me, because our student rep does such a good job that there's nothing really for me to say, but I just wanted to thank Mrs. Ricano for filling in for me last month. I really appreciate you stepping up. And I also just wanted to wish everyone here and whoever's watching out in the community a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. It's hard to believe that 2025 is coming to a close. It seemed to go by so very quickly. Really looking forward to 2026. And that's it for my president's report. So we'll move on to public comments. Mrs. Patagno, has anyone signed up to speak?
I don't have anyone signed up.
Is there anyone wishing to speak on agenda items? Okay.
Move to close public comments. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So now we will move to the adopting the agenda as presented. Yep. It's being slow, my computer.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Education, Mr. Satovich.
I'd like to move items 11.2 to 11.8 under education.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Before I open it to discussion, I know Dr. Kitchen, you wanted to speak on a few of those items.
Yes, so I know we had a conversation about the choir field trip, the Boston trip that is planned. So just a reminder to everyone that the approval that is on here this evening is the preliminary approval to investigate the trip. It's not a final approval for the trip to take place. One thing that was discussed in committee was concerns about the cost to students. I think we collectively have a feeling that we would really like to make sure our trips are very inclusive and that it is accessible to all. I know the $2,000 per student price tag for a trip to Boston was something that we were concerned about. That is something that has then been shared with the department chair, who is communicating that with Mr. Weaver. And at this point, they're going to be investigating the trip and seeing if they can fundraise and what opportunities they have to bring the cost of that down, hopefully. But for now, we are simply putting this forward as a preliminary approval to say that in theory we would be okay with this. But again, the concerns about cost has been brought forward.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just to clarify, so after they get done investigating, before anything gets sent home to parents, before they start fundraising or paying any money towards it, you will have an opportunity to approve or deny the trip.
Yes, and so it'll also be something that is discussed, even prior to like an approval or denial, it'll be something that is actively communicated from myself and going forward. So as you all know, we just approved a new policy related to field trips, which was basically saying that we wanted a clear procedure in place for trip approvals, and that procedure would take this and this and this into account in terms of what would be considered when we are approving the trip. So as we discussed in committee last week, we have a new process that is going to be rolled out in January for trip approvals in general. It seemed like the area that we were still falling a little bit short was trips like this, the overnight trips that are these really big trips, and trying to come up with a timeline for those things. So with that, I followed up. While it's not her role specifically, I did speak with Sharon West. I want to give credit to Sharon for sitting down and having the dialogue about this, because while obviously our process is district-wide and many of these trips come out of the high school as a whole across many departments, she happens to be the supervisor that oversees some of these specific trips. And so I wanted to bring her into the conversation because she's one most connected to what the process has been. So she sat down with me yesterday, and we kind of went through what our process and procedure is and what we're looking to do there. And I shared some of the discussion points from committee and our goal of making sure that all of the information that is needed is available to members of the board as we're looking to approve these things. So with that, we kind of went through what our process has been, what our process has become, and we're going to be communicating out what our expectation is in terms of timeline to come back with like a full itinerary for these individual trips that give more of the details of about exactly what they'll be doing on the trip and exactly what the cost is to individuals, exactly what the cost is to the district. It is challenging at times for some of these trips because some of the details are not really finalized until you know exactly who's going, exactly how many students are going. So it's difficult to get everything precise, but I think we can give a pretty good preliminary itinerary earlier. And I think ultimately, I think what has happened to now is there's a really pretty detailed application for trip approval that goes into a lot of the details on how many students you're anticipating, where you're planning to go, what the dates are. But it wouldn't include a full itinerary because that's not really known until much later on in the process. And I think our individuals that are applying for the trips are completing that form, and there hasn't been a follow-up that's been in place. So there's been, like, I think if you fill out this complete form, you kind of think, okay, I've done what I need to do to get this trip approved. And ultimately, where it's been falling short is that there's not been a follow-up where it's like, okay, well, now we need the details to then be presented to administration, to be presented to the board. So I don't think it's anybody's fault in particular, but I think it's something that has been a problem we've identified. We've discussed it as a board, and I've been working with my admin team to make sure that's sort of clarified moving forward. So the expectation would be that the preliminary approval is specifically to say we're okay with the trip in theory, but we need to know more details before we finalize that. And while we don't have a lot of overnight trips any given year, while we roll out the new trip approval procedure, our goal is to make sure it's all-encompassing and it includes any changes to the overnight trips so that going forward, we'll have a process that makes sure that information is readily available to everybody as soon as it is available to anybody. So that's the goal. It's not going to really change anything about the trips that are for this year because we've been approving these trips, but it will make sure that information is communicated out. So I have some more detailed information on a couple of those overnight trips in following up on last week's meeting, and I'll be sharing that information out with all of the board members. And if anybody has any questions about that information, you're welcome to reach out and ask. So I know that the trips that are on this evening are not the ones that were a concern there, but it is something that we should be discussing more. Have easier access to pull things going forward. So, but again, I do want to thank the admin team that were helping me with that, particularly Sharon West, who took the time to sit down and kind of give some history of what our process has been and help me to understand where she sees some of the shortcomings, and hopefully we're able to work them out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I do believe you were going to speak to 11.2, the phone-free school grant also.
Yes, thank you. So if you remember, so those of you who were down at school boards, if you remember, there was a table that we went to, a company called Yonder. These Yonder bags are basically, I see them at concerts a lot now. It's basically, you can put your cell phone into this bag. It's got this lock, it's a magnetic lock that can only be opened by their proprietary unlocking magnet mechanism. And a lot of schools are shifting to something like that where you put your phone in this bag for the day, and at the end of the day you go to one of the locks, unlock, and you can retrieve your phone, but it prevents you from utilizing your phone throughout the day. The state made money available. Last month they announced this new opportunity for districts to collect more money if they were going to go to a more restrictive policy on cell phone use, to go for cell phone free schools, bell to bell, meaning beginning of day to end of day. Some districts are choosing to go with phone lockers at the entrances. Other districts use things like the Yonder bags. Now, for this one in particular, there was an allotment that we were going to be awarded of about $6,500. That was the total amount announced to the state, and then the breakdown based on individual districts. That amount, as we shared with you previously, was slated to go up depending on how many schools actually put in for the money. So the allotment to us has now been updated to $13,094.62. That is still not enough to cover the cost of these Yonder bags, and it is something that we would need to discuss further whether or not we genuinely want to go with a more restrictive policy. The policy tweak we made for this year has seemed to be very successful. We could easily go to a more restrictive more restrictive use of phones throughout the day by not allowing it in the hallway, not allowing it at lunches. Right now, they're not allowed in academic spaces. We could do that without it being a formal bell-to-bell policy. This dollar amount is not on here because we are officially accepting it. We need to approve the ability to accept it. So still to be determined by this board and more specifically the appropriate committees to decide whether or not we choose to move forward. We'd have to change our policy. We'd have to discuss the ops and finance side of it for whether or not we want to receive the funds. But the approval tonight is simply to say that we could accept that money, because without an approval this calendar year, we will not be allowed to accept the funds. So I definitely recommend that we push this through this evening, but there will be a further discussion on whether or not it's something we want to move forward with, because we were kind of hoping that dollar amount was going to go up a little bit more than that, and it was going to fully cover the cost if we chose to move forward with it. Right now, it looks like there'd be a considerable additional cost to the district, and we may or may not need it to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish.
Thanks for explaining both of those, Dr. Kitchen. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call please, Mrs. Patagno. Oh, actually, I just wanted to say one thing. I am going to vote on 11.8, the HIB investigations. Although I was not present last month for the executive session, I have had the opportunity to see the reports from Dr. Kitchen, so I'm comfortable voting on 11.8, the HIB investigations. I just wanted to make that public. Roll call, please.
Thank you.
Mr.
Mr. Sitovich?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Jurgensen?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lockwood.
I'm going to abstain on 11.4 and 11.5, and yes to everything else.
Thank you.
Personnel, Student Affairs, Mrs. Ricano.
I would like to move items 13.1 through 13.19, as well as the hand carry 14.2.
Second.
Thank you. So before I open it up to discussion, I just wanted to speak to 13.2 that's on the agenda, the retirement. So the board would like to thank Ms. Coleman for all the years of service. She's actually been in education for a little over 25 years. We just wanted to congratulate you on your upcoming retirement and wish you all the best in your next chapter. Having said that, any discussion on any of the other items? Seeing none, roll call please. Mrs. Patagno.
Thank you. Mr. Sitovich?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Jurgensen?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lockwood.
Yes. Mr. Lippy, Ops and Finance.
I'd like to move 15.2, lost my space here, sorry, to 15.11 for your voting pleasure.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please, Mrs. Patagno.
Thank you. Mr. Sitovich?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes, with the required or recommended abstentions.
Thank you. Mrs. Jurgensen?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Marquardt?
Yes, with the recommended abstentions, and thank you for the.
You're welcome. Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes, with the recommended abstentions.
Thank you. And Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes. Policy, Mrs. Marquardt.
I'd like to make a motion to move item 17.2 under policies.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to just point out one quick tweak to the second read on the home instruction policy. There was one minor element that was not included there that was discussed previously, which was aligning that home instruction policy with the relatively recent tweak to our athletic participation policy. We've discussed it. We wanted it to be on there. It was just an oversight that it wasn't included in the first read. It doesn't substantially change the policy, but it does align that students who are not physically attending school are not participating at that time in athletics. But obviously, as we discussed previously, that we want to get them back into school, so coming back into school is an incentive for that participation. So that was supposed to be in there during the first read. It was not. It does not substantially change the policy, so we're still able to do a second read, but I want you all to be aware of that as you vote.
Thank you, Dr. Kitchen. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call please, Mrs. Patagno.
Thank you. Mr. Sotovich?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Jurgensen?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes. Committee reports and liaisons, I saw that some were uploaded. Is there anyone else that would like to add anything that isn't already up there? The only thing that I was going to add is the CPAC. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 14th, 7 p.m., right here at Highlander Academy. I know we have a reorg meeting. I'm not sure if we'll get to that, so I figured I'd just announce that here. Okay, moving on to old business. Any old business? Yes, Mrs. Marquardt.
So I know we spoke at it at great length and with lots of passion about, in committees about, the formal reporting for our elementary schools, marking periods versus trimesters, progress reports, lack of progress reports. And I know that that's something in the works, but because I brought it up last month, I just want to bring it up again in public after going through what was sent home in place of the November conferences, how disappointing it was, especially to 4th and 5th grade parents. And again, my strong recommendation that the district goes back to a quarterly reporting and November conferences for our elementary schools.
Agreed.
Any other discussion on that? No, I heard.
I second her opinion.
Okay.
And I know we've discussed it, there's a lot of factors at play, but it's an active conversation as to what we're doing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. For me, it's not about when, it's not about how we go about it. It's more about what is the most effective way of communicating with our families and making sure that we are sharing the best possible information to help them understand how their child is doing and how to best support their needs. So I'm open to whatever option accomplishes that, and it is an active discussion that we already began with our elementary principals to say what are we looking for going forward, and should there be any tweaks to the marking period structure, to the conference timing, all of it. So thank you.
Okay. Any other? Yes, Mrs. Van Dyke.
Well, this came up also in Superintendent's Roundtable, and after sitting there and listening to some of the discussion, I think I'm looking at it and I'm thinking there truly is too much of a gap of time from the start of school to the end of the first trimester. And that's probably where some of this, and I know that there should be a progress report, but I think I'm more in favor of going back to those 4 marking periods for the elementary, because I was looking at it as a mother. If I was going back in time to when my children were that age, I would be kind of as just disappointed as some of these parents are for the lack of understanding where my child is, and looking and saying, gee, when I get to January, I feel like half the school year is over. for them. So I also am more in favor of going to the back to the 4 marking periods. I understand why we started it, and I do appreciate that the administration is looking at it strongly, but I think that for the elementary school, it is a better fit.
Anyone else?
Move to close all business.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? New business. Anyone have any new business? Yes, Mrs. Van Dyke.
I just want to say that I was at PK school, and our elementary school put on the Wizard of Oz, and it was amazing. These young children did such a wonderful job. I just couldn't get over how, their presence on the stage and how wonderful they did, and how many kids were involved. Our PTAs and PTOs are doing such a wonderful job in putting clubs out there and things for our elementary kids that, unfortunately for each of us, we can't go see every one of these things. It's impossible. But I was just so impressed in the involvement of them, and listening to even the PTOs and PTAs sitting around the round table the other day about all the things that they're doing. And I just want to say kudos to the PTA and PTOs, because they have gone without them, I don't think our schools could really run very well. So I want to say thank you, but I also want to say kudos, because there was over 100 kids that participated in that play, and that's half the building. So I think that's wonderful. So I just wanted to say kudos.
Thank you, Mrs. Van Dyke.
It was excellent.
Any other new business?
Move to close new business.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going on to public comment. Is anyone signed up to speak in the second public comment?
I don't have my own.
Anyone wishing to speak? Mrs. Babcock.
It's been a while.
Okay, while you sign in, I have to say my little, all speakers will have 5 minutes to speak until a period of 30 minutes transpires. Before speaking, please state your name, group affiliation, and address for the record. Members of the public who have requested to speak prior to the meeting will be recognized by the chair first. After speaking, all speakers are asked to sign the register provided and give their full name, group affiliation, and their address. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are expected to have read the statement within the agenda regarding the regulations concerning public comments. Members of the public are reminded that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Babcock.
Caitlin Babcock, 13 Post Place. I bet you can probably guess what I'm going to talk about. So I'd also like to address the timing of parent-teacher conferences and respectfully advocate for them to be returned from January back to November. Historically, as we know, when conferences were held in November, they were paired with the half-days for students. But when they were moved to January, the half-days remained in November due to some busing logistics. At the time, there was discussion that those November half-days would still be used in meaningful ways. But from a parent's perspective, however, that hasn't translated into clearer or more consistent communication about student progress. Our district has identified communication as a district goal for several years now. With that in mind, it's concerning that parents and families often don't receive clear or consistent data about how their students are doing until the December report cards come out or those January conferences. By that point, students may have been struggling for weeks or even months. Earlier conferences would allow families to identify academic or behavioral concerns sooner, partner with teachers while there is still time to intervene, or even just avoid surprises late in that trimester. Simply put, it is better to know early that a student is struggling than find out halfway through the school year. If the obstacle is our trimester system, which was also a reason why we moved it to January, then I would encourage the district to consider returning to marking periods and increasing the number of times progress is reported, because that is never a negative thing. More frequent feedback supports student success and aligns directly with our stated communication goals. I also recognize that there are contractual obligations, and I want to be respectful of our staff's workload. Some districts have addressed all of these issues by offering conferences twice a year, once in November and again in March, creating multiple opportunities for collaboration. I understand that this would never be a simple change or one that could not happen now, but it's worth a thoughtful discussion. My intent here is not to criticize any specific teachers or not our staff at all. They are wonderful, but to advocate for students and families. Earlier, clearer communication benefits everyone involved and strengthens the partnership between home and school, something that I know that we're all looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Babcock.
I would like to make a point of clarification too, because it's something you said I think is important. So the timing of conferences and the marking period structure, those decisions are not like mutually exclusive. You know, one doesn't necessarily impact the other, but I do think it's appropriate that they be coupled when it comes to the discussion about how we communicate. So changing one wouldn't prevent us or require us to change the other, but I think we're looking at communication as a whole, and I think that both of those things are a factor in the discussion. So both of those things are things that have already been brought forward to our principals, and while this year obviously our calendar is set and we are following that calendar, nothing will prevent us from making changes next year if it feels like that is the most appropriate outcome from those discussions. So it will be discussed, but thank you for pointing that part of it out as well.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Move to close public comments.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, executive session. Mrs. Ricano, can you take us into executive?
At 7:43 p.m., I move to go into executive session. The board will go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel appointments, resignations, current litigation matters, special education matters, negotiations, HIBs, and matters of attorney-client privilege. The executive session minutes will not be released until such time as the privilege or confidentiality is no longer applicable. The board will be in executive session for approximately 30 minutes. Action will not be taken, and we will adjourn from executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Wishing everyone a happy new year.